Hey folks, Dana here, back in my incredibly messy shop, and I'm working on this today. It's a piece of yellow birch, a young sapling. Hadn't quite developed that really cool yellow birch color yet, but still, it's pretty nice bark on it. Anyways, this one's was growing on a pile of dirt and wood that had gotten pushed up during a logging operation. It started out growing that way and then fell over at some point, turned direction, and then fell over again. And first step is trimming off some of these roots. Okay, got the roots trimmed, and going to eventually take off the back down to, I don't know, here somewhere, mainly because of that big scrape right there. And normally I would keep the back on a yellow birch, especially such an interesting shape as this, but that big scrape right there just doesn't look good. And I'd kind of like to be able to see the grain flowing through the handle. So I'll strip that down, but I'm going to do that last after I straighten the stick. Okay, got her squeezed up in the vise, and of course protecting it with that piece of thick leather. And this part right here is first part I'm going to try to straighten some using hot air gun, and then might try to get a little bit of that bend out of the length of it, especially right there. And this is going to be kind of noisy, so I probably won't record this, so I'll be back. So I heated her up in good shape, so it was definitely hot to the touch, and I'm just pulling back on it until it cools, and hopefully it'll retain its shape. Might have to do it again just to get a little more bend in it, but we'll see. Yeah, we got quite a bit of the bend out of it. Not too bad. That dog leg down there, that won't bend really, but yeah, that looks pretty decent. So now I'm just gonna start working on the head. Okay, got the back stripped off and got it filed down and some sanding. Hopefully this will focus, but you can see the way the grain just flows right around that curve there. And look at the back side there. Hopefully you can see it. I don't know if this thing focuses terribly well, but yeah, a little more sanding and she'll be ready for some polyurethane. Got a few little knobs on here that'll need smoothing off, but yeah, she's coming right along. Okay, gave her a good spray of polyurethane, and she looks pretty good. That grain in it's really amazing, I think. The way it just goes right along there. With that color, though, I'd almost say this was cherry if I didn't know for certain that it was yellow birch. But yeah, that looks pretty good. It's kind of a gray, cloudy day, so it isn't showing up as well as it would. But yeah, pretty happy with that. Well, thanks for watching, and stick around. I've got some footage of a stick collecting trip from the last couple days, and we'll see you there, up in the woods. Well, I'm going to grab this maple. It's a pretty good size, nice straight shank on it. a little damage where something ran over it. Pretty sure it was a snowmobile. It's not in a good place. It's right at the edge of the snowmobile trail here. It's, I don't think it's Zerky. Oh, here comes Phoebe. Running like crazy thing. But yeah, it's a nice fall day here in Maine. So I'm gonna slice this off and see what she looks like. Well, I finally got this one finished. The one I started cutting on the dogs the other day. Turns out it was a sucker off of a stump that the tree had been cut years ago. But that will make a nice little knob stick, I think. Should be some interesting grain in it. Okay, got a nice little maple here. It's a little bigger than I usually get, but it's got a really interesting root on it, which could make a nice handle. So I'm gonna grab that. I usually cut it off about eye level first, and then go for the roots. Yeah, that's got a really cool bunch of roots to it. It's a little large, so I'll definitely end up having to trim that down some, but yeah, that will make a cool cane. Let's see what else we can find. We've got a dead apple tree here. I think that right there would make a nice handle for something. Plus, that little tangle of branches there would be good. Unfortunately, the saw I have is probably not up to it, so I'll have to come back for that. But I know right where it is, anyways. So let's keep looking. I'll get another little nice maple here. It's got kind of a bad dog leg right there on it, though, so I'm not going to be able to get a full-length thing, but I can get if I cut it off right there, I can get a cane out of it anyways. And it's got one quite long root right there. Probably won't take all of it, but then it's got a couple of roots right there that could have good handle potential. So we'll see what it looks like. That's a interesting little root right there. That part there would make probably a decent handle. So I'll bring that one back for sure. Okay, got a really interesting little maple here. It's a little small, but that'll make a good cane. But that root system there is really wild. That will make a fantastic handle, I think. So let's see if I can get her out of there. Now that is a really cool handle. Cool root system, I should say. It's not a handle yet, but it will be. But yeah, that's nice. The good thing about this area where I'm collecting, the topsoil is really thin. As you can see, there's quite a few trees that have fallen over the years, which means that underneath that thin topsoil is a layer of hard blue clay, so that the trees, instead of sending roots down, they send them out to the sides, and it makes for some really neat handles. So there's a nice yellow birch with really amazing root structure. Be a good source for some root handles for some shanks. Sorry about the wind noise. There's another nice yellow birch, but just way too big. Kind of wish I'd found that one a few years ago. That would have made a nice stick. But there's Phoebe. And there's Dougie and Zerky being crazy hounds. There's Woody. But yeah, a little breezy today. We've got bad weather coming in, so it's supposed to rain up to, oh, I think it said 3 or 4 inches altogether tomorrow. So maybe I get one more scouting trip in anyways. There's a little ash tree that looks like it could have some handle potential. It looks like some decent roots in there. A little sucker coming off it there, so I'll have to check that out sometime. Not obviously not very straight, but that's okay. Some of the coolest canes I've made have been from really ugly trees.